If you work as a manufacturing facilities engineer, installing a new piece of equipment can be as complex as the machinery itself. From prep work to alignment and testing, it's your team's job to put it all together. That's why it's good to have Grainger on your side. With industrial-grade products and next-day delivery, Grainger helps ensure you have everything you need close at hand through every step of the installation. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Blog Talk Radio.
The following broadcast is brought to you by the iGolf Sports Network.
Golf Talk Live is sponsored by the iGolf Sports Network and Golf Tips Magazine. Here's Andrew to tell you more about our sponsors.
iGolf Sports is a live stream broadcast and media production company providing quality programming designed to attract the golfing enthusiast. And Golf Tips, the game's most in-depth instruction magazine, including reviews on the latest equipment, tips from top teaching professionals, all designed to help you improve from tee to green. Welcome to Golf Talk Live with your host, Ted Odorico. Join Ted each week as he speaks with some of the best in golf. Sit back, relax, and listen to tonight's show. Let's join our host, Ted Odorico, as he introduces tonight's special guest.
All right, good evening, everybody, and once again, welcome to Golf Talk Live. I'm your host, Ted Odorico, and we got a great show for you this evening. I'm going to be joined momentarily by my very special guest of the evening. But before we do, let me just make a couple of announcements. First off, we are live every Thursday evening, typically from 6 to 8 p.m. Central here on the blogtalkradio.com network. Tonight, of course, is going to be the last evening that we do just an hour broadcast. I like to, in the month of February, as I come back for a new season, I like to sort of, as I call it, Golf Talk Live Light, with just an interview each week for an hour until I get ready to go in, which is starting up March 2nd, to the full broadcast, which is 2 hours, and I'll have the Coach's Corner panel will be joining me again this season. We'll have a great panel discussion beginning next Thursday. And then on the second half, which is typically from 7 to 8 or 8 to 9 Eastern, depending on where you are located, I will have my interview take place at that time. So next week, March 2nd, we'll be joining me here for a full broadcast, 2-hour broadcast with Coach's Corner and my insightful interviews. For some reason, if you're tuning in the first time tonight, not to worry. I'm glad you can join us live. Thank you. But for some reason, if you want to go back and listen to some of the previously aired shows, you can go to blogtalkradio.com/Golf Talk Live and just scroll down to the on-demand section, and you'll see all of the previously aired shows in their entirety right there. And tonight, after this evening's broadcast, it too will be added on top of the list, so you'll be able to go there if you've missed or you come in at partway through the interview. You can go back and listen to it again at blogtalkradio.com/Golf Talk Live. And of course, there's a lot of other great platforms as well that you can hear the show. iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, CastBox, TalkStream Live, and of course Spotify, plus many others out there as well. So basically, wherever you hear some great podcasts, you'll find Golf Talk Live right there front and center. So again, welcome to Golf Talk Live. This is our 11th season. I'm really excited that I've been doing this for a while now, and I'm super excited to have this young man. He was supposed to come on actually back in, I believe, December of last year, and unfortunately I had to cancel on him, but he very graciously agreed to reschedule and come back this evening. So we're going to bring him on here in a moment. But let me just tell you a little bit about his background so you have an understanding of who he is and how we sort of got where we are tonight. Jon Paul is my guest, and he's an Evans Scholarship recipient. He grew up in a very small mountain town in Haiti. He and his siblings lived in a tiny home with really without running water or even electricity at times. And also at times they went days without food. So despite their lack of formal schooling, his parents knew that education was a way to move past their cycle of poverty. And as he put it himself, we were poor, but besides love, my parents made sure our education was a priority, even over eating, he said. Through volunteer work at a local church, he met a couple from Michigan and formed a friendship. And eventually they asked him to become his sponsor parents and brought him to America. He came to Michigan in 2016, and through a recommendation from his sponsor mom, he began caddying at the Country Club of Detroit. And after learning the game of golf and becoming a top requested caddy, he earned the Evans Scholarship to Michigan State, where he is now attending and wants to go into aerospace or possibly engineering. So please welcome my very special guest, Jon Paul. Good evening, Jon. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for rescheduling with me this evening. I know it was you were looking forward to coming on last year and right near the end of the season, and unfortunately I had some personal issues come up and I had to cancel the show, but you very graciously moved your schedule aside and agreed to come on. But before I ask you my first question, I just want, for those that maybe are tuning in for the first time tonight, to understand a little bit of the background of the Evans Scholarship Foundation and the program that they offer. So basically, the Evans Scholarship was established by famed amateur golfer Charles Chick Evans Jr. The Evans Scholar Foundation provides full housing and tuition scholarships to deserving caddies across the country. Each recipient is a caddy with a unique story to tell, of course, as we're going to hear tonight, reflecting on the scholarship's 4 selection criteria. One being a strong caddy record, obviously excellent academics, and needs to obviously demonstrate the financial need and have outstanding character. And what's very unique about this particular program is they offer full tuition and housing college scholarship, which is estimated to be valued at over $125,000 over the 4 years. So it's a very integral part of these youngsters' lives to be able to help them through their education and through great alumni, over 35,000 donors across the country, and proceeds from the BMW Championship each year. They're able to help put some of these youngsters through the program. And currently, and this was as of last year, there was a record 1,100 plus caddies are enrolled in over 22 universities across the nation as Evans Scholars. And to date, more than 11,800 caddies have graduated from the Evans Scholars program, so or through their initiative. So it's a great program. And Jon Paul, I wanted to just sort of mention that for those that, again, maybe not familiar with that program, what it stands for and really what their purpose is. So I want to go back a little bit for you. And when you first had the opportunity, obviously, to come over to America and pursue a top-rated education, that was obviously very important for you and obviously important for your parents back home, extended parents here in America. Tell us a little bit what that meant to you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. And it meant a lot to me because I was in Haiti. I was doing my best, the best that I could in school, and my parents, they were doing their best to give me an education and to feed us. But the things we could do were limited because of my parents' level of education, and I could not see far in the future. And so I needed not a way to get out, but a way to try to break my family out of the cycle of poverty. So giving the chance to come to the United States, which not everyone in Haiti have that chance, meant the world to me. It was a chance for me to break my family cycle of poverty.
And obviously it had to be a what we would call here a culture shock for you. I mean, here you've come from very, very, and I say this respectfully, very humble, and that's putting it politely, humble beginnings where you really didn't have a lot. And now you're here in a country where there is so much and you're being given opportunities to be able to obviously better yourself and ultimately going to be able to better your family back home. Obviously that meant a lot for you, but it had to be a little bit of a culture shock as well. You had to see a lot of things that you probably weren't exposed to back home when you first came over. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, it's definitely accurate, yeah.
So now here you are and introduced, which is kind of interesting because I don't imagine, and I might be wrong because I've never been to Haiti, but I don't imagine there's a lot of golf going on in Haiti. So as I mentioned in the opening comments, your sponsor mom here in the United States introduced you to the game and presented the opportunity to help you begin caddying at the Country Club of Detroit. So tell us about how that happened. How did that sort of come into play?
So as you said, I never heard of golf before I came here, and it was after my sophomore year of high school that my host mom heard of the Evans Scholarship from a doctor she worked with, and that's when I started caddying at the Country Club of Detroit because it was only a few blocks from me, and it was a good chance for me because I would be able to make money and to send money to my family, and I would have a chance to go to college.
And yeah, so obviously there was many opportunities that were presented to you, and as I'm sure you can attest to, golf is certainly a challenging game. We were talking very briefly off air, and I forgot where you were up in Michigan. I asked you if you'd played golf. So you haven't obviously played golf since the fall, obviously because of the climate up in Michigan. But I imagine now that you've had a chance to play a little bit, number one, obviously you enjoy the game, and obviously you enjoy the caddying experience as well. What have you learned about the game that maybe you didn't know before?
So it's definitely a tough game. It's not as easy as some players make it look like on TV, like just hit the ball and then hole in one, or just close to the flag, just one putt, eagle. It's not every day people get eagle. So it's a tough game, and it also teaches like a lot about like life itself, because like the patience that come with it, especially as a caddy.
Yeah, and you hit it right on the head. Golf, many will tell you that have been around the game for any length of time, golf really mimics life, and you can learn a lot of life lessons, patience being certainly one of them, but also how to overcome obstacles. I mean, you're faced with a lot of obstacles when you're on the golf course playing, or your members that you're caddying for, and now that you're doing that position for them, you have to sort of help them, guide them as best you can through some difficult situations, which certainly is a test of your character, but also provides a very valuable service to some of the members that you caddy for, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So what are some other, and then we're going to get into a little bit more about your caddying experience and that. What are some of the other life lessons that you've learned that golf has taught you? What else have you learned besides patience, obviously, that you've learned from the game?
Definitely respect, self-respect, and respect of others, because ever since I was in Haiti, my parents always teach me to respect elders. So still now, I don't feel comfortable calling people by their first name. Just I have to call them by the last name, or Mr. or Sir. Just that's the kind of thing that golf kind of reinforced, because when you go to the golfer, you have to say Mr. and Sir. Kind of cool actually, because over the years I became friends with a golfer, and still I call him Mr. because that's what I was taught at the beginning. I still stuck. It's still stuck with me, and also leadership. That's a big thing, because we have to look out for each other. It's I was told when I started that even though I'm caddying for a particular member, I have to help out the other caddies. If they are falling behind, they cannot take the flag out. If they cannot rig the bunker, I do it for them. I don't wait for them to do it. It's we are a team.
Right.
So it's so that's leadership skill that we learn from it, and also good work ethics. It teaches good work ethics, because I remember I used to go to caddy, and I'd stay there for 6 hours, and I'd go home without getting a loop. So it was at first it was frustrating, but I realized that some of my best friends, I made them during those 6 hours sitting there, and I learned how to play euchre, which I love.
Very good. Yeah, it's something that you definitely, it's an experience all the way around. You get a chance to do a lot of different things. So you've told us a little bit about your experience caddying, and obviously becoming. Tell us about becoming an Evans Scholar. How did that come about, and why do you think, based on your own experiences, why do you think you deserve the scholarship?
So, to be honest, I don't think no one is deserving of the Evans Scholarship. I think it's an honor to be awarded the Evans Scholarship, but we are in no way deserving of it. we just like, because like it's just like $125 like $1,000 or so. So it's like there's nothing we can do to be deserving of that. I mean, we did put in the work. We had the grade. We had the financial need, but we were not deserving of it. It was just an honor and a blessing.
Well, I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more. I think if you're willing to put in the work and the effort, I think that's where the deserving side comes from. And but again, it's not guaranteed for everybody. And there's obviously becoming more and more competition for people looking to that. And obviously they're limited at this point, but it's growing. It's been growing for many, many years now. So you expressed a little bit about caddying at the Country Club of Detroit. Give us an idea of what a typical day looks like for you.
So before COVID, when I first started, a typical day for me would be like waking up around 6, as early as 6:30 sometimes, so I could be able to get out because we used to have a lot of caddies. So as I would just ride my bike to the country club, and where I would sign my name up, and then the caddy master would call us in the order that our name is written down on the sheet of paper. But since the older caddies sometimes get priorities because the members would request them, that's what made the wait sometimes long. Like the wait would be long sometimes. We would go home and our name would not get called. So it was kind of it used to be a long day. But when I would get to go out, it'll be fun because just 4 hours of walking and talking. The members are always like very, very nice to me. I am yet to get a member who is mean. But sometimes some other days when it's too hot outside, hole 18 would be my favorite hole.
Right. Well, I can imagine it's challenging depending on how the player themselves, nothing to do with you, but how the player is actually playing the course. If they're having a good day out there and shooting, maybe giving themselves a lot of birdie opportunities and maybe even a few eagles along the way, I'm sure they're pretty happy. But I imagine there's some days when the members are not having a good day, and so I'm sure it's a little bit more challenging for you to try to pick their spirits up and help them, push through the rest of the round. But yeah, I'm sure there's days when it's hot and everything's maybe not going well. You're looking forward to that 18th hole so you can wrap things up. So you mentioned that you'd heard about the scholarship through your sponsor mom here in the U.S. And did you decide right away, okay, this is something, because again, as I mentioned earlier, you came from a background really that you weren't exposed to golf. You didn't grow up learning the game, probably didn't have a lot of exposure to it other than that until you came over here. Was it something that you said, okay, I really want to do this, or this is something? What was sort of the deciding factor for you? Obviously, you wanted to get a good education while you were here, but what was some of the deciding factor for you to be able to pursue that?
So at first, I was not very sure about it, if it's something I really wanted to do. But when I thought about it, it was my only option to go to college, because even though my grades were great from my second semester of sophomore year inward, but it wasn't that great because when I first came to the United States, I barely spoke English, so my grade was not outstanding as for me to get a full ride somewhere to a university. So I had to find a different way to afford my college education, and the Evans Scholarship was it.
Yeah, and again, you're kind of starting from what we would call behind the eight ball a little bit, because again, you weren't brought up or raised in a golfing community, so you had to come over and not only learn the language, but you had to learn about golf as well. So that was probably an interesting challenge. Tell us a little bit about that.
So, to be honest, at first, golf, I wasn't interested in golfing because it would be seeing some golfers sometimes hitting the ball, getting frustrated, and sometimes I'd be saying, I'm the caddy, I'm the one running after the ball. So, but I get to really love the game because I had a friend there that I went to school with. He took me to the range, and one time, and then my host dad, he had like a set of clubs, and then after that I started taking myself to the range. I even took a lesson down back in Detroit, and then since then I've been like playing, and I love it. It's like I don't have to be good, but I love it. It's just a fun game. Either if you're caddying with your favorite member or playing it.
So let me ask you, Jon, just to expand on that a little bit more. For a lot of people that have never played the game, and I want to know if this is a similar experience for you. It can be very, as I said, very challenging. It can be certainly very frustrating for anybody, and again, a little bit more so for you because you didn't grow up playing the game. But obviously there was a moment when you maybe hit that one really good shot very early on in your pursuit that sort of kept you interested or brought you back. Did that happen for you? Was that sort of how it went? You saw a few people playing and they weren't so good, but you went out there and gave it a try. What was the deciding factor for you? When did you know that, okay, this is something I really want to try? Not so much because of the scholarship, but just the game itself. When did that bug sort of bite you and say, wow, I think I can, with a little work, I can do this?
Yeah, so as you said, I did go to the range. I did see some people like hitting some bad shots, but then I realized my shot was bad too. So it wasn't like, it's not easy. Like I've had like some good shots, but not very often. But it's just like the spirit of the game, especially when you're playing with friends. It's just like there's something that is like smoothing and fun about it. Like for a whole 4 hours, you're just like laughing and all. So it's just fun. That's why it makes me like stick with the game. Even if sometimes I'll be taking the marks on some holes, it doesn't matter as long as I'm having fun. I guess that's what was this deciding factor for me.
I imagine serves you well when you're caddying because, as I mentioned as well, you're going to have moments where you're with a member or a group and, good shots are not very abundant in that particular round, and they're frustrated. So this is obviously, has this helped you in your own journey of learning the game and at times I'm sure being frustrated? Has this helped you to become a better caddy, to have a little bit of empathy for, those bad shots? And what do you do to sort of lift the spirits of the player? When you have a player that's really struggling and you're caddying for them, you're carrying the bag, what do you do, or do you say anything to them that sort of, helps lift their spirits a little bit and gets the momentum going for the next hole?
Yeah, so when I'm caddying with a member, like for example, for the past 2 years, I've been caddying for one particular member. Most of the time, we're not even talking about the golf itself until we get to the ball. So it's like talking about other things, like to get our mind away from the game, and also don't think about it. Don't think about it too much. Just go to the ball and then choose a club, the right club, and then what you think at least is the right club, and then hit the ball. Because golf is a very humbling sport, and if we play it for fun, so we cannot get mad all the time. So just having these little conversations that's not related to the golf, that makes us realize that we're not just here to hit the ball, but also to be outside and to have some good conversation.
What do you think is the reason? I mentioned earlier when I first introduced you, in addition to learning the game, you've become a top requested caddy. Why do you think that is? What is it about you being on that person's bag during that round that makes them want you to be their request? What is it that you do differently maybe than some of the others out there that has gotten you and earned you an opportunity to get out there a little more often than some of your fellow caddies?
So when I first, it's funny because when I first studied caddying, the manager we had there always told me that I had a $1 million smile. He told me to keep the smile up, no matter if I was tired in the morning, just come out there come caddying with a big smile. That will do the trick. And also, my rule is I do not start a conversation with the golfers. But if they start a conversation with me, that's when I start talking to them and give them tips and whatever they need.
Yeah, I think having $1 million smile, I think, is definitely gets the doors open. What have you learned from some of the players that you caddied for? And it doesn't necessarily have to be, I mean, obviously I'm sure maybe you've gotten some tips from them about your own game, but what have you learned from them? You're obviously, walking around for 18 holes every day with multiple golfers. What is, as an overwhelming, if you were to sum it up, what have you learned from them that's helping you?
Oh, so actually, I've learned a lot of things that will help me, not even in life, but with my career, because like you can hear like there are a lot of different golfers, and they're always open to giving tips. It's like free networking every time you step on the course. And my internship next summer, I got it because my resume needed some touch up, and then I sent it to one of the members who I became friend with, and he kind of told me like how to like reward it to make it better. And in my thoughts, I had not gotten an internship before. I thought it was not possible as a junior, and I got one of the best internships just because he told me how to like word it. He did not remove anything or add anything. He just told me how to word it differently. And now because of that, I got two offers, and I accepted one. While last year I had like a hard time getting one. So it's just like that networking experience. So caddying is not just about carrying the bag; it's about the experience that we gain along the way.
So as you very eloquently put it, it's not just about learning about the game or learning even about caddying, but it's learning about life, how to improve yourself, making yourself and presenting yourself to the world, in a sense, a little bit better. So that's obviously some very valuable advice and information that you've got from being a caddy out on the golf course. Is that a pretty accurate statement, you think?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Yeah.
And so, I mean, that to me, I think there's no greater gift than you can give to a younger person than to help them on their journey. And it's not just a matter of financial, and it's not just, I mean, education obviously is the number one. The more educated that you can prepare somebody, on their journey is always a good thing. But sometimes it's just about learning life skills and things like that. It's not always about textbooks. Sometimes it's just about learning everyday simple, what might seem, simple to some folks could be invaluable to somebody like yourself, who maybe, has started a little bit further back at times earlier in your life, and now you've been presented with an opportunity to be able to elevate yourself and at the same time being able to elevate your family. We're going to talk about, in a moment, an opportunity that you had at last year's Green Coat Gala, which was put on by the Western Golf Association. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to let the folks know a little bit about that, and then you had an opportunity to speak there. I want to talk to you about that as well. But first, we're going to take a very quick message from Golf Tips Magazine, so stay tuned, and I'll be back with my very special guest, Jon Paul.
The following ad is sponsored by Golf Tips Magazine.
Are you tired of being short off the tee? And what about those 3 putts? Forget about it. It's time you got serious about your game. Golf Tips, the most in-depth magazine in the industry. For over 30 years, Golf Tips has delivered expert content such as the latest golf instruction from America's top pros, simple-to-follow practice and game improvement drills, fitness and mental game tips, equipment, training aids, accessory and apparel reviews, golf destinations and travel tips for every budget, and so much more. Don't miss a single issue. Go to golftipsmag.com and subscribe today.
All right, don't forget to go to golftipsmag.com and subscribe. It's available in both a print version and digital version. You can get either or, you can get both. So go to golftipsmag.com and check it out and subscribe today. It's a great publication. All right, I'm here with my very special guest this evening, Jon Paul, who is an Evans Scholarship recipient, and we're talking a little bit about his journey and how he got to where he is, originally from Haiti, and very, very humble beginnings, and had an opportunity to come here to America and not only attend a top university, but also to be able to learn the game of golf and caddy Club of Detroit. So a very prestigious club, indeed. And in addition to that, Jon, as I was leading into the commercial, you had an opportunity to speak at the Green Coat Gala, which was put on by the Western Golf Association. I'm going to tell everybody a little bit about that, and then I'm going to get you to give me your thoughts on how it went for you and what you talked about. So the Western Golf Association, who've been on the show before, representatives, they put on what's referred to a Green Coat Gala. They had their 11th annual last November 4th, which was a Friday, and raised a record $1 million to help send deserving caddies like Jon Paul to college. And more than 300 supporters attended a black tie affair at the Peninsula Chicago, and it was virtually shown by live stream. All proceeds from the event supported the Evans Scholarship, and the evening featured a special guest, Butch Harmon, who was the former coach of Tiger Woods and the current coach of many of the top touring professionals. So you had an opportunity to actually speak at this particular gala. Tell us how that first came about, and what did you talk about?
So I was asked about it a few months before the actual date, and there were a lot of events that led to that I participated in before I was asked to be the guest of that Green Coat Gala. And the first event was at the Country Club of Detroit, the Detroit Golf Course, where I was asked to give a speech, and then after that I was asked to give it at a different club, Edgewood, I believe. Yeah, I was asked to give a speech at those two clubs, and then after that, I guess the WGA heard my speech, and then they wanted to invite me to speak at the Green Coat Gala, and then we had to take a few, before the event itself, a few WGA people came up to take pictures and videos, and then on the day itself, I drove down to Chicago with two of my friends, and it was a pretty great experience, and I was honored that out of thousands of scholars they chose me, but it was actually intimidating and also because it was me speaking in front of like a big group of people, that it was it was a lot.
So I would imagine you were probably a little bit nervous. Would that be correct?
So at first, for the first few seconds when I was going up to the podium, I was.
But then you kind of settled into a rhythm once you got talking. So what did you talk about? Was it just an opportunity for you to tell and share a little bit of your story and your journey? Was that basically what you were talking about? Or give us an idea, just a little sense of what you were talking about.
So I was pretty much talking about my life stories and my life experiences from when I was in Haiti, and how I became an Evans Scholar. What an opportunity it is for me to break my families out of the cycle of poverty. So it was pretty much a chance for me to tell everyone there who have supported the Evans Scholarship or who were thinking about supporting the Evans Scholarship, or a chance for me to tell them what their donations is do what level it changes people's life.
Mm-hmm. And as we've talked about tonight, obviously it's opened a lot of doors for you. First and foremost, with a very good education, and you're still obviously in that education. You've got a little bit more to go, but you've gotten to a good start, and obviously you're able to get good grades, and you're obviously putting yourself in a position to help your family back home. Obviously, I would assume over this time, because you've been here now since 2016, you've had time obviously to communicate and whatnot with your family back home. What are their thoughts? I mean, obviously this is it has to be very exciting for them to be able to see, your parents I'm referring to in Haiti, to be able to see that you're getting this great opportunity, and ultimately they're going to ultimately benefit. But first and foremost, they're excited for you. Maybe tell us and share a little bit about their thoughts and your communications with them as you explain to them what you're doing here.
So I think they know that it's a really great opportunity for me, and also a blessing from above, because like there were like thousands of students in my town, and I was the one choosing to come here. You know, it could have been anyone else, but it's me. So they know that it's really a blessing, and it's also tough because I don't get to see my family. The last time I saw them was in 2017, so it's been like 5 years since I saw them in person. So it's pretty tough, but it's like just a sacrifice that is like, you know, worth it.
Yeah, I think in the long run, I mean, that, you know, you're a young man now, so obviously you're going to, as they say, spread your wings, and you're going to, you know, move on forward. And you know, obviously, unfortunately, we had a pandemic that came in too, so that was probably made things a little bit challenging for you to be able to go, you know, back and visit with them. And obviously, you have a lot of commitments here now. But at some point, that's going to happen where you're going to be able to meet with them again and be able to share even more experiences with them. So I mentioned earlier you're attending the you're attending school in Michigan, and Michigan State actually, and you're wanting to go into aerospace and or engineering. So what are some of your long-term goals, and how do you think you'll use your degree in that area? What is it specifically that's got your interest that you'd like to do moving forward? Tell us a little bit about your long-term goals.
Yeah, so a little correction, actually. My major is mechanical engineering. I previously wanted to do a aerospace concentration, as you said, but I have changed my concentration to manufacturing because I believe that it opens like more doors to me. Like there are more things that I can do with that concentration than like an aerospace concentration. But after I graduate, I'm planning on like working on the like automotive industry, because I just love the way we're moving with our vehicles. So I want to be part of that, innovation.
Do you see yourself in, working on the designing aspect as well, do you think? Obviously I didn't take an engineering degree, so I don't know what's all involved in it, but is that also involved? Are you learning to not just, how they're all put together, but learning how to create and be on the creative side of the automotive industry? Is that something that appeals to you as well, as opposed to just the mechanical side?
Yeah, so I'm very passionate about designing. I design my iPad that I design on, and I print it out with my own 3D printer. But as a mechanical engineer, there is a lot that I can do. So I'm not constrained in one particular area. Even though I love design, my internship next summer is in project management. So it's just there's a lot I can do. So it's not. Yeah. So wherever life takes me.
Well, I think that's a great attitude. And you know what? I think it's good. I think when you find something that you're passionate about, which obviously I can hear that in your voice, that that's something that you are, I think that, you just have to sort of jump in with both feet. So going back to golf for a second. So now that you have a better understanding, you've caddied, you've played this game, how do you see golf as part of your life moving forward? Obviously, I would assume you're going to continue to play. Do you see that playing a very active role in your long-term plans as well? Do you want to play it a little bit more, obviously more often and so forth? Give me your thoughts here.
I think definitely. I will definitely keep on playing golf because I find it fun, and it's one of the many ways that I bond with my friends. I don't expect my handicap to be single digits soon, or to have a good handicap soon, but I will keep playing it because it's fun.
Well, you'll be in good company because I'm on the teaching side of golf, and I can tell you that most people out there struggle to even break 100 many times. So if you can get yourself even to, a 10 or a 15 handicap at some point, you'll be in good company. You'll be better than most in the country. So that's certainly a good goal to shoot for. And if you get better than that, that's even better still. But I think it's a great opportunity. If you had the ear, figuratively speaking, of a young person, if you roll back to when you first had this opportunity to be introduced to the Evans Scholarship, and knowing what you know now, and you had the ear of, let's say, a classroom in a school, in a junior school, what would the conversation be like for you? How would you advise them, or what would you say to them in order to introduce them to this opportunity? And obviously, everybody's not going to be able to do it, depending on their grades and their circumstances. But if you had the opportunity to speak in front of a class, what would you say to them about your journey, particularly with this scholarship opportunity, and about golf?
So it would definitely be one of the things I would probably tell them is to stay focused in school and to have a goal. That's the biggest thing for me. Even though I decided to be a caddy, and I came here. I decided to be a caddy. All of these are because I had a goal. These were just like a step up every time I did those things, because I had an end goal. So it's just I think it's have a goal and then do things that will allow you to pursue that goal, because there were sometimes that a caddying was tough, but I knew where I wanted to be. Even now, school is not easy. I have to try very hard, and sometimes I have to give it priority over other things, But I know that I'm doing it for a reason, where I want to be, so I'm not gonna stop until I get there. So it's just about having a goal and do everything in your power to realize that goal.
Well said. And I think it's also, and I'm sure you would agree, I think it's a great opportunity to caddy, I'm referring to at this point, I think for some of the younger generation to really appreciate the game. I mean, and I'm sure you would probably recognize what I'm about to say, but, most people's understanding of the game of golf is what we see on TV. Unless you're in the business or what have you, or you belong to a country club, most of what people see is what they see on television. They see the PGA, the LPGA tours, and so on and so forth. And that's what their understanding of the game is. And most people, when they look at it, think, well, gosh, I'm never going to be able to compete with somebody like a Tiger Woods or a Rory McIlroy or many of the other, women that are on the LPGA tour. But there's a lot of other What are some of the opportunities, if you were talking to that group, what are some of the opportunities being a caddy, or even just drawing to the game that maybe a lot of younger people don't really understand or appreciate? Because it's opened a lot of doors for you. What would you say to them, for those that maybe turn their nose up and think, I don't know, golf just doesn't look, very good, and I just don't think I can do it, or I'm not interested? What would you say to them?
So, what most people don't understand, golf is not just about hitting holes in one and getting on the fairway every time, or even one time in 18 holes. It's about finding something that golf is helping you with. I think people start playing golf for many reasons, and sometimes they end up getting more out of it. But people don't start playing golf for the same reason. For example, I started playing golf because of the scholarship, and then now I'm playing it because it's fun, because that's how I bond with my friends. But it might not be the same for some people. Probably some people is because they can drink early when they play golf. But so it's just different for each people. Some people it's money, just finding something that golf could help you with. Maybe it's just to make you forget about life for 4 hours. So yeah, so golf can help you with a lot of different things.
I think that's a good analogy. And as you pointed out, Jon, earlier is it really mimics life in a lot of ways. There's a lot of challenges that you faced out in the golf course, whether it be bunkers or water hazards or, whatever the case may be. And having to overcome those challenges, I would assume has helped you, in addition to all the other things that have helped you, to overcome some of the obstacles that you faced with life, correct?
Yeah, you're definitely right about that bunker analogy, because sometimes you realize in life, even if those bunkers are not there, sometimes the thought, it's all about the thought. Sometimes our thoughts can be our worst enemy. We think that it's the bunker, but it's not the bunker, it's us. So just like it can help us with life in that way. You're right.
What is the best part of your game, and what is the worst part of your game? What needs the most help, and what I won't say you've mastered it, because nobody really ever masters this game, but what's the strong part of your game, and what's an area that you really still need to do a little bit of work on?
So one good part of my game, or I wouldn't say good, okay part of my game would be the driver, because when I make good connection with it, it actually goes far and straight, which rarely happens, but it does happen. When it happens, it's very satisfying. And what needs like a lot of work actually is my short game. I still struggle with it. Even my putter, I can read the green perfectly, because one of my members, the reason we make a good team is because I give him the line, he hit it in there. But when I'm holding the putter, I cannot hit the lines.
Right. So that's obviously an area that you need to work on for your own game. It's great that you're able to, as a caddy, able to help your members. You just have to, I think, you have to start learning to take your own advice. So when you're helping somebody on the golf course, you got to make some notes and say, you know what, maybe I need to do that next time I'm faced with a similar putt. I think it's your story is very interesting for so many levels. I mean, obviously, as I mentioned, and again, this is a mild version of it, but you obviously came from very, very humble and very challenging background. But one of the things that is a requirement of the Evans Scholarship Foundation, and I want to point this out because just talking with you over this last almost an hour now, obviously you had you've elevated your academics in that, and obviously you had the financial need and so forth, but you obviously have an outstanding character. I mean, you have really two ways of going through life. You can look at your beginnings and allow yourself to go down that, as they call it, that rabbit hole, and say, poor me, and I'm I've got all these hurdles. Or you can pick yourself up and say, you know what, when an opportunity comes, I'm going to reach out and I'm going to do something about it. And that says a lot, Jon, about your character, that you've developed a very positive attitude. What do you equate that to? Is that just something that naturally sort of came to you through your upbringing, just with your parents back home, and obviously your extended family here in the United States? How did that character, because again, most people looking at your background and the challenge that and maybe not have been as outstanding of character as you are, what do you attest that to?
So it's the way, like, when I look in my past, it doesn't, like, at first it was like a long time since I was able to talk about it. Sometimes I would like the interior talking about it. But now when I look at it, when I look in my past, it kind of fuels my work ethic, even though I don't feel like studying one day, and I think about it, why I'm doing it. I'm doing it for my family, because I know where I'm come from, and my family is still in that situation that I used to be in. So I wanna get them out of that situation. Also, some other people in my town. So it's kind of like fuel my work ethic, because I know there's one way I can get there. It's through education. So every time I'm feeling down on even by anything, so I just look in my past and think about my family, think about a lot of people that I would be letting down if I fail. So that's the kind of thing that keeps me going.
Do you think, as a result of where you came from and where you are now, that it's given you a greater appreciation for the simple things?
Yeah, definitely. Like I appreciate like a lot of things in life, because something we may think is very small, even some, like, for example, some pocket change thing, that's like a very small thing. Like, if you get those like $1 here is around, like, I believe, like 300 Haitian goods now, which has like it raised by like 3 times since I was there. So it's like some things we don't think it's that big, but like for some other people it might be very big.
And you recognize that more so now as a result of being here. I think it's a real testament to not only you personally, but to the program through the WGA and the Evans Scholarship Program. It creates opportunities. I mean, we've, as I mentioned, we have had a number of youngsters like yourself, and I say young because I'm much older than you are, unfortunately, but I'm a little more long in the tooth, as they say, than you are. But, we've had other recipients of the Evans Scholars Foundation scholarship, rather, and, the one sort of resounding thing is they're all very, very humble in their demeanor, but they're also very dedicated in what they do. They appreciate the opportunity that's been given to them, and they want to do something to kind of pay it forward. Do you see that happening with you, not just in everyday life and obviously with your family back home, but do you see wanting to help move this opportunity forward for the next Jon Paul?
Yep, that's definitely like one thing that every single one of us who have received the scholarship believe in. We believe that we should be the first people, like, who to be wanting to move that scholarship forward, like to keep that tradition going and to help other kids who were like as unfortunate as in life as we were. So it's definitely like a big thing for me. Like, I have to give back any way as I can to that scholarship to keep it going.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And again, as I mentioned, right now there's over 1,100 caddies, and that was as of late last year. So I'm sure this year those numbers will even be higher, but are currently enrolled in over 22 universities across the nation as Evans Scholars, and they've had over just a little under actually 12,000 caddies have graduated from the Evans Scholars program. So you're in good company, and there's a lot of opportunities for the next youngsters coming through this particular program. So I think you're in good company. Any final thoughts or comments you'd like to make before I let you go?
Yeah. Thank you for having me, because it's always like a pleasure for me to share my story in how the Evans Scholarship has changed my life and continue to change the life of other like young men and women around the country. So it's pretty nice to be here to talk about that.
Well, it's been my honor and my pleasure. And one final question: have you managed to get your first hole-in-one yet?
Oh no, I'm still waiting for that one. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I'm holding on to that hope. Blind squirrels find or not sometimes. So hopefully, I find mine soon.
Well, when you get your first hole-in-one, I would love for you to reach out, and I'll have you back on the program, and you can share that experience with my audience. But Jon Paul, I want to thank you.
You might be waiting for a while. Yeah.
Well, hurry up! No, I'm not getting any younger. Jon Paul, I want to thank you truthfully from the bottom of my heart. What a very inspirational story that you've shared, and I wish you nothing but continued success. I wish you nothing but Godspeed for your family back home, and God bless your family here in the United States for bringing you here and giving you this opportunity, folks at the Evans Scholarship Foundation, for doing that. But much continued success. Thank you for joining me tonight here on Golf Talk Live, and you're welcome, my friend, to come back anytime you want to share more interesting stories with my audience, or maybe if you got something new, when you get that hole-in-one, you come back and we'll get you on the program, okay?
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All right. You have a great evening, and I'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
All right, that was Jon Paul. He is an Evans Scholarship recipient. As I mentioned, if you listened to earlier in the program, came from very, very difficult beginning in Haiti. He grew up in really no easier way to put it, but in poverty. Obviously, much of his family is still back there, and through literally, I believe, the grace of God and some very very nice people here in the United States brought him here and presented him with this opportunity to go through, introduced him to the Evans Scholars Program, and helped him to get his caddying job at the Country Club of Detroit. And he's earned his way through the scholarship to Michigan State, where he's, as he said, he's learning to his engineering degree, which he plans on putting to good use. So he's really a story, I think, that is for the ages. You know, he is very, very humble, but at the same time is full of a lot of enthusiasm and positive energy, and is well deserving of this opportunity. And I'm glad that he was able to come on and share it, and I'm grateful for those within that organization and through that network of alumni that they allowed him the opportunity at their recent Green Coat Gala to be able to come and share some of that story, and it's certainly inspirational. So there's no excuse for those of you out there that are struggling with your game or struggling with life in general. Here's a young man that has really stepped up, and obviously he has a vested goal ahead to help his family back home. But if you've got a youngster that you're wanting to maybe provide a better opportunity, and maybe you're having some financial difficulty, I encourage you to reach out to the WGA, the Western Golf Association. If you go to their website, just put in Western Golf Association, it'll come up. And on there's a link talking about the Evans Scholars Foundation, and you can get more information there, and maybe perhaps your youngster or somebody you know may qualify for that. So you can certainly introduce them to that. I strongly recommend it. So you go to the Western Golf Association's website. All right. As I mentioned, this is the last week for our Golf Talk Live Light. Next week, I'll be back to my full 2-hour broadcast, starting off with a great Coach's Corner panel, the first of the season, by my insightful interview with my special guest of that evening. So I hope you'll come back and join me. Again, don't forget, if for some reason you're tuning in late in the broadcast, or you want to hear this broadcast again, or maybe listen to some previously aired shows, you can go to this link, blogtalkradio.com/Golf Talk Live, and scroll down to the on-demand section, and you'll find all of the previously aired shows in their entirety, including tonight's. Tonight's will be there shortly. It'll take a few moments just to compile all of the information, and that link should be available at top. But you can listen to all of the previously aired shows going right back to the beginning of our 11th season. So lots of great shows there, lots of great guests. I hope you tune in. Or you can certainly listen on any of these other social media platforms, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, CastBox, TalkStream Live, and, of course, Spotify. On that note, again, special thanks to Jon Paul for joining me this evening. A great discussion, and, again, much continued success. On that note, I will see you right here next week on Golf Talk Live. God bless, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this week's broadcast of Golf Talk Live. Ted would like to thank this evening's special guest for joining him on the show. Remember to join Ted every Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. Central on Golf Talk Live. You can also listen to Golf Talk Live on any of these social media platforms, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, CastBox, TalkStream Live, and of course Spotify. Be sure to follow Ted on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you're interested in being a guest on the show, send an email to Ted at ted.golftalklive@gmail.com. This has been a production of the iGolf Sports Network.